Media. Hello, Campside listeners. Welcome back to Inside the Tent. I'm Vanessa Grigoriadis, one of the founders of Campside. And this week, we're doing something a little bit different for Inside the Tent. Instead of talking to the people who bring our podcast to life, we are actually going to play you an episode of one of our new shows. Now, I am primarily a journalist who has created shows like Chameleon and Hollywood Con Queen with Josh Dean, Fallen Angel with Justine Harmon. I put out a show called Model Wars this year. I also worked with Natalie Robomed on the Allison Mack show for CBC called Allison After Nexium. And of course, I make a weekly show that is called Infamous that you should be listening to, which is about all the different scandals that are going on in our incredibly scandal-plagued country in 2026. But in addition to all of that, I am a wife. I am the mom to 2 kids whose lives I produce, and I am a daughter. And in this case, my mom is quite ill, and I am now producing her life. So one thing I'm passionate about is aging in America and how incredibly rough it is, not only on the people who are aging, yeah, obviously, really rough on them, but it's also really hard on the adult children, and I speak from experience on that. So I launched this show that you may know about already called So Your Parents Are Old. It is a weekly show where I talk to my friends, I talk to experts, I talk to celebrities about just all of the chaos of dealing with aging parents. It's honest, it is sometimes hilarious, and it also has a lot of info in it for people who are going through this. It's sort of like a group chat with other people who are going through this experience in podcast form. So this week, I wanted to play one of the episodes. This episode is with comedian Lewis Black, who I have loved for years. I watched him on The Daily Show, love the ranting and raving. And he talks about his parents who lived, I believe, both of them to over 100 years old. My grandma lived to 104. So that's either some really good genetics or some not so good genetics, because that last decade of all of those people's lives was not excellent. So please take a listen to this episode with Lewis Black of So Your Parents Are Old. And if you are interested, it would be great if you could listen to the rest of the show. And as always, if you want more exclusive content or behind-the-scenes anecdotes from all of our shows, you can go to joincampside.com and become a free member of the Campside community. Again, that's joincampside.com. So now we're going to play this episode of So Your Parents Are Old. So Your Parents Are Old, and you're listening to this podcast. I'm Vanessa Grigoriadis, and this is a show where we talk about what to do when your parents age. A show where we laugh about caretaking so we can take care of ourselves. Because this stage of life is not just hard, it's existential. It's messy, it's lonely, it's absurd, and it is just surreal. So we want to laugh, we're going to cry, we're going to feel a little less alone when we have insomnia in the middle of the night, when we're thinking about if our mom initialed the power of attorney document correctly so that Chase Bank will actually accept this power of attorney and not say that you need to get her to sign it again, even though she can't really sign anymore. Because those are the kinds of things. It's not just regular paperwork that I'm doing and that you're probably doing. It's paperwork when you have taken over somebody's entire financial life. Somebody different who you are not a signer on the account for. This stuff is never going to feel good, but that does not mean it has to be a total bummer. There are still things, a lot of things, that you learn about yourself and your family. There are still moments of joy, or if not joy, then a hell of a lot of dark humor. So you found yourself in this place where we're all dealing with this horror show of our parents being old, or maybe our parents have died already and we're just completely traumatized by it and thinking about it all the time. So we thought there was nobody better to talk to than Lewis Black. I believe Rolling Stone called him the perpetually aggrieved comedian, something along those lines. I started watching him in 1996 when he was on The Daily Show. It was like a breath of fresh air. Oh my God, who is this guy? He was screaming at me. The man in the flesh, Lewis Black, a living legend, a actual national treasure that we're speaking to, who is still alive. Welcome, Lewis.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you for coming here to speak with us. So we're going to talk about aging generally, which just sort of sucks. But first, I want to talk about the longevity in your family. So something I'm dealing with is my mom is quite ill. She's on the Upper West Side. I'm taking care of her. She's 83. Her mom lived to 104, which I believe is how old your mom lived to.
Yeah,
is that
she
right?
did. Yeah, because I believe she was a vampire.
Obviously.
She really, she did. She made it to 104.
What was her quality of life like back then?
It was crazy until, now, you were saying your mother's 83?
Mm-hmm.
When my mother and father were 83, I was taking them on, I did a couple of cruises, 2 or 3 actually, so that I could take them. And they were rolling along. They were still on their own. On their own, they were going down to, I had an apartment in Chapel Hill. They would go down there. I mean, and it wasn't until 93, 94 when my mother broke her hip, and that kind of slowed everything down. But she really didn't fade out. Neither of them had dementia. Neither of them had Alzheimer's. It was pretty remarkable. When you'd think that my father was not participating or was kind of withdrawn, and he was always kind of quiet, and you'd think, well, he's not following this. Then, like 7 minutes into the discussion at dinner, he would come up with some remarkable insight or something really funny. I mean, it was pretty incredible.
And so how was your relationship with them before this elderly period?
Well, I'll lie down and explain it to you. My mother was really brilliant and insightful and much better with other children. I discovered, as I have discovered during the course of my life, that she was really, 3 or 4 of my friends credit my mother with kind of getting them on track and saving their lives at crucial points.
Okay.
As for me, it was like, I'm going to throw you into the deep end and now swim. And I'm going to be watching the McCarthy hearings while you're swimming to shore.
Because she was a teacher. She was good with other people's kids, but those teach who cannot do. Is that the idea?
Right. Yeah. And I was in my early 60s and was performing in Vegas, and we were all having lunch together. And because they were coming to Vegas into their 90s. And
oh my God.
I said to them, I said to my mother, who wanted the kids? Did you want the kids? And she pointed at my father, said, it was him. She said, if it was up to me, I'd never have had children. Pause. And she goes, I guess I shouldn't have said that in front of you.
Oh my God.
That'll give you an idea.
So what kind of kid were you?
I was a good kid. I did everything I was supposed to. I graduated, the top guy in my class, and I did all the stuff, and I was always really a good kid. And my parents were really great. I mean, they were both really funny, because even if my mother was a pain in the ass, I don't know if there were a lot of people funnier than my mother.
And what about your dad?
He was very, very funny. He kind of, at least, my mother didn't know where the line was. My mother had no concept, and my father did. So, and my father's the one, to give you an idea, my father's sense of humor, he was reading Catch-22 when I was 15 or 16, and he was laughing out loud. And I said, "You like that book?" He said, "This is a great book." He
It
said,
is a
"You
great
should read
book.
this book." He said, "You should read this book. It'll tell you everything you need to know about being in a business, being anywhere in this country. It's all you need to know." And
I feel like
so
what Catch-22 says is like the man is always trying to get you. There's always a catch. You're a sucker in a machine. All right. Okay.
And my father handed me that.
But so neither of them ate well. They both just lived their life making jokes, doing their work. You were a good kid. And then suddenly they're getting older and older. They're very proud of you. They seem to be following you around, enjoying your, stand-up, right?
Yeah, no, they were in the audience for all of my specials, and we used my father's paintings as sets in 2 of my specials.
Oh, tell us about those.
Well, here's the interesting story about my father. The reason we went to war in Vietnam was based in part on something called the Geneva Accords.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a Gulf of Tonkin resolution based on the Geneva Accords. My father read those. He read them because my mother wouldn't shut up about the war. My mother was already, "This is bullshit." Every night screaming. And we had the news on, and she's screaming about it. My father said, "You don't know. You're not basing this on any facts. Here's what they say. I'm going to read this. This is what they based it on. I'll read it and see." He read it, and he said, "There is no legal reason for us to be in Vietnam. This is a bullshit." He made sea mines. That was his thing. He was a mechanical engineer.
What is that? Underneath a bridge or something? Or like what? To catch octopi?
No. The sea mine was built as a defensive weapon. So during war, if you had a harbor and you had your boats there, you would put these sea mines in a configuration where your boats could get out and the other people would have difficulty coming to get you.
Okay.
They were a defensive weapon. And my father was not going to ever make an offensive weapon. And that was part of the deal. So he was working for the federal government.
He didn't want to just make a bunch of drones and just drop them on populations of various nation states around the world. Okay, that was a good choice for him. Yeah.
Well, really, he actually even was trying to get out, just make refrigerators or something else. But everything in the country had turned to weapon making. So he's working for the federal government. We mine the Haiphong Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that, and my father, now we're using it as an offensive weapon, and my father said, "I'm done." And he retires somewhat early and goes on to study with a guy who does stained glass, then starts taking courses at the junior college in painting, and he does what he always wanted to do, which was become a painter, and he does. And his work was really good.
So they were still coming to Vegas in their 90s, maybe doing some gambling, maybe not. And then what happened? There's a fall, as usually is the case.
Yeah. And then they become more homebound, but my mother, bounces back. And they basically start to fade, just physically fade. And at that point, they need, and here's the key to why the longevity. My father needed some more help. They had 2 friends, 2 nurses, Nancy Wilkie and Betty Ruano, 2 really fine ladies who had retired from nursing. And they were my parents' friends at this point, younger, but not by a ton. And they knew caregivers, and they brought somebody in. And as they grew older and needed more help, and I could afford the help. I hadn't gone crazy with my money, and I always knew this was going to be necessary at some point. I didn't realize what it would mean, but that's how they lived that long. You can't do it otherwise.
You mean just in the home with care?
Yeah.
You could still live in an assisted place, but yeah, people do
It's a
sometimes
lot
decline
different,
more.
though. They were in an independent living situation with care,
Right. Extra people. Yeah.
24/7.
So did you expect them to live that long?
God, nobody expects. No, just, plus my father missed COVID by about a year,
Okay. That's good.
but my mother lived through it
Oh,
and
I'm
never got
sorry.
it. And it
Oh.
was rampant through the place they were living, assisted, independent, and memory care. There were 3 branches. But
It's like 3 stations of the cross. I
yeah,
mean, you
exactly.
just move to
Yeah,
wars.
that was
So how is this, as somebody who I think of as a famous atheist, although you can correct me on that, how did this all make you feel about the afterlife?
I really don't know because they were living so long. It was beyond my comprehension. There didn't seem to be an afterlife necessary because they'd already lived it. I mean, for my mother, 104, I mean, it's staggering. My mother used to say, nobody should live this fucking long. At her 100th birthday, she blew out the candles on the cake and screamed, nobody should live this fucking long.
And did you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I got it. I got what she was talking about. But I mean, she kept functioning and she had these caregivers that she was always kind of advising. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. She was constantly
Bossing them
teaching.
around? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the place? Are you just looking at these bills oh my God, I thought I had a lot of money, but it turns out memory care is twice as much as the other care. What did you think?
But I didn't have to pay for memory care because they were in independent living. They never moved out.
That's right. Okay. So you got the lower price.
I mean, I still had 2 caregivers, at least there all the time, but I could afford it.
Okay.
I mean, I was a stand-up comic working theaters. I mean, I could really afford. I was working, 150 nights a year.
Wow. Oh my God.
So and it started at 200 nights a year, and so it was on the Daily Show, and we did movies, and then I wrote books, and so all of that, but I put aside because I always knew there wasn't that much I really, kind of wanted.
Right. What else are you going to buy? You're going to buy the Kurt Vonnegut signed set of, every tiny novel he ever wrote. So would you go to one of these places? Or are you absolutely not? I'm going to just, go walk into the Hudson River.
Yeah, that's the profound insanity, is that my generation, your generation, everybody, all the generations right now are looking at what that step is and not doing shit to deal with it.
I know.
Nothing. Going, oh, yeah, what are you going to, it's the question. Are you gonna? Fuck no. But we've come up with nothing else. And the only thing is, because I go to these goddamn, I stay at a Fairfield Inn or a Hampton Suites I started looking at them. I was at one for a month. This is when it dawned on me. I had a play being done in Seattle. We're staying at a suite hotel, meaning, small kitchen. And I'm looking at this place going, Jesus Christ. I don't think they did do this on purpose because I don't think they're that smart. They had built the next generation of assisted living.
That's what it looks like. I'm sure that's the
like
plan. I'm sure that's the plan. Next time there's COVID and nobody comes here for vacation, we turn into an assisted living. Eventually, every place will be assisted living. They're going to forget the affordable housing thing. They're going, no, you're just going to live under the bridge in the tent, and then we'll get you in the assisted living through Medicaid. That's it. That's all there. I agree with you, though. It's this crazy thing where you're okay, there is definitely a climate crisis, but are you also aware that 20 years of everybody's life is going to be spent just half alive and with maybe somebody to visit you. I don't really know who's coming.
I know, and and my friends and I have talked. I don't know if your friends have talked about this, but we started talking about a while ago of getting a place together, a larger place, and then hiring a staff and doing it on our own so that we're with our friends. So, and partly so that we can actually get through a story and we have enough people to remember the fucking story. So we made a decision, but here's the kicker to that: we can't decide where to fucking live. So everybody's got. I think we're gonna live. We should live in Arizona. Fuck you! I'm not living in the desert. You know, I'm gonna live in North Carolina. Fuck you! I'm not going down. It's like unbelievable. So where are we gonna go, you fucking morons?
So you all are going to end up in like Paramus, New Jersey, just because you can't decide?
I don't know. I'll go walk on the beach somewhere. Fuck this, but it's tough. I don't want to live in one of those places. You have to realize I took them where your mother is now, 83. I took my parents at 83 because my brother had passed away. I go down there. I'm on the road a lot now. My career's taken off. So I go down there. I say, I hate to say this, but I think you're going to have to move out of the house. Because, I mean, you're at that age.
And what did they say?
And they were like, and I explained, that I'm not going to be able to just run home. If something's up, I'm not here. And they went, I said, let's go look. And I drove around with them. I said, let's start looking. And we drove up to this place, and it was a 10-story assisted living or, independent and assisted living place and nearby where they lived. And my father looked at it and he went, I'm not going in there. He says, I am not going to live in a giant chicken coop. And they found a place that they were very comfortable in.
Okay, so they did.
They enjoyed where they lived and the folks around them that they made friends with. And my father continued to drive and they knew all the back roads. And so they had this life. I mean, they kept going.
Yeah, I think you can actually have a life in one of these places. I think it's more like not everybody is a working comedian who's publishing books and, doing like, stand up at the highest level and getting paid. Like there's a real issue with private equity taking over all of these assisted living places. Half the time, like the assistance is like, we give you your medication. Every time there's like real assistance needed, you call 911. It's a pretty good business model, right? So you basically got this situation where you have, these old people and all their kids are like, oh no, how do I help? Let's put you in assisted living. And then that's just the first step. There's so many more steps that are going to happen. That's the thing that I think is hardest to wrap your head around is like, if your parents have longevity, this is like now a long road you're walking down with them arm in arm, where they're sort of falling to the ground, but you're walking down it with them for years, for maybe decades.
It was a long haul, and you realize, no, you've got that time, and how do you live with that time frame? And I'm looking at what's happening to my parents and going, this is what I've got to look forward to, that you wake up, you go down, you eat, you come back up, you watch CNN, you go. And they kept going for a while. So, I mean, they kept pushing it. But, by the time my mother was 100 when they were there was no gas in the tank except for them sitting in the chair, and they'd take them downstairs and they'd go outside. So what do you want?
What do you want when you get older? Are you like, I can't? Okay, so my mom is in her apartment because she said to me, I will never go to one of those places, which is where her mom lived till 104. But now I realize he's just sitting on a couch. This couch could be anywhere. Could be anywhere. It could be, in Thailand, Koh Phangan, and there could be like a full moon party. She's just like, there's not a lot happening, right? Like she just wants to see her grandkids once in a while. I mean, she'd like to see them every day in truth. And there's a lot of guilt that goes along with all of that we can also talk about. But it doesn't really matter. So like, what do you want then? Are you like, I'll stay till I'm 100 because the other side is so terrifying? Because the other side is just like the black abyss where nothingness lives?
Yeah.
Okay, I agree with you. I'm with you on that.
I mean,
As bad as
really.
it is to look at your parents at 101 or 104, there is part of you that's like, I think I'm going to go for it because I don't want you to just put me in the place where I can't ever, where I don't exist, where there's no existence.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I am not big on that. I like this. I still
Yeah.
like this. I mean, even with it being a slow trudge at times. And one thing I did, which was my friends were shocked, I got a puppy because I wanted a dog. And I wanted a dog the entire time I was on the road. I wanted a dog. I had a dog when I was in school. I had a dog after college until my early 30s. And then it was like, no, we can't do this anymore. And now I've got a dog again. And that, and everybody goes, oh, that'll really keep you young. Yeah, fuck you. It's going to kill me. That's how I'm going to break my
I
leg.
thought the dog walks the man. It's awesome. It's supposed to be so good for you.
Yeah, it is
No?
supposed to be good. But no, it is. But you've got to train the dog, and you have to be trained to walk the dog so the dog's not wrapping around your legs and you're holding, and the goddamn dog is taking a dump, and you're holding the goddamn leash, hoping the dog stays there while you're standing there picking up the stuff. And who's got the energy for that?
It's supposed to keep you young. Like it's supposed to just.
You end up having to take more naps. That's what it does.
Okay, but it's also joy, right? The dog is pure joy. I personally don't have a pet, but I have noticed that maybe every single human being alive now has a pet except for me.
Yeah. I mean, it does bring me, because you come back, as my mother said, the other thing my mother said, which was proof about children, she said that the one thing she learned about me having a dog, she said, I'd rather have dogs than children because they're at least excited when you come home. And because my dog just like can't, it's like literally, you didn't die. I thought you were going to leave. I would leave me, the dog is saying.
So wait, did you feel guilt about not going to see your mother all the time? And did she guilt you about not being there constantly?
No. Oh, no. She was...
She was happy.
No, the only thing she guilted me was why are you still working? And I would go so I can keep you in the style in which you've become accustomed so that you can have all of this. Okay, so shut the fuck up. Because she would go, well, you shouldn't really be doing this. And I go, I fucking enjoy doing it. I mean, I couldn't argue with her anyway. There was never, there's never winning the argument.
So what about like when she died? What happened? Did you feel relief? Were you like, this is over finally? Or were you intensely sad? Or both?
No, it's weird because you already have gone through a certain amount of grief because they're already fading. So already parts that had been, as nutty as those parts were at times, those parts were leaving. What was truly unbelievable was like 2 weeks before she died, and this is, my mother and I had never looked each other in the eye.
What does that mean?
Imagine that.
How can that be?
Yeah.
You were at her breast. She didn't look at you in the eye with the...
Yeah, here's truth number 67. And this is a tip-off to what life is going to be like. I was allergic to my mother's milk. Yes. Okay?
You were an orphan from the beginning.
So she's cooking Similac or whatever the fuck it was. And that I remembered where we had, and we did, I was getting ready to leave and we sat there for a good minute. And that I went, okay, we're at peace.
Nice.
She gets it.
I had a similar experience with my father when he died. And I have to say, it has really felt good the way that you describe it. But it is shocking that you can go also through a whole experience with this person who's maybe the most important person in shaping you. And that deathbed moment is the moment that you can really connect. Holy shit, I can't believe it. You know?
Yeah.
And I don't come from like a big therapy background. I don't know. Maybe I should have hauled him into therapy. I have no idea. You know, I don't know how you could have fixed that. Maybe some things just are the way they are. And at least you have that moment at the end. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing that was, I mean, how many in your family? Did you have a...
I'm an only child. So it's just me and these decrepit and dead people.
Yeah. Wow. That's rough.
Yeah.
But my brother passed.
Right.
And I cursed him every day that I was on a train going to see them going, you fuck. No wonder you checked out. This is really, I shouldn't be having to be dealing with this on my own. But they, and to their credit, you know, they really flipped him out because he died in his 40s. So they were like, you know, this isn't the way it's supposed to be, and and I really gave him the come to Jesus moment of, you know, you don't, okay, you know, you grieve and you do this and all of that, but you know, I'm here, so you know, you don't get to check out, okay? You're fucking stuck with me, so stop it, and we'll get through it. And I'm not happy about it either. So that I think had to do too with making it easier to, not my brother's death, but it did kind of give us a bridge. He was kind of the bridge.
Of the death bridge that reminded you that, these things were going this way. Yeah. But then you basically became an only child. I mean, and you know, didn't even get the benefit of getting a lot of presents when you were little and all the attention heaped on you. You just got the back half, which is...
Oh, yeah, no, but
the bad half.
The other thing is that we didn't have big birthdays, even nothing. Hanukkah was a shit holiday. The whole thing was a bupkis. I mean, you know, it was really, as I would make jokes about it in my act, but, you know, it was like a back to school holiday. Socks and an eraser. Are you fucking kidding me? We're not getting a notebook? What is the matter with you people?
Well, you know, you were made of like hardy stuff, though. Like, look at you. You're still ticking. You're not quite as angry as you used to be. Do you notice that? I wonder if you chilled out.
No. I don't act like that all the time, or I'd be dead. You know, no. I'm talking about my parents. It's not, you know.
But what if the idea is that the culture went to this place that, you know, like only the people who are conspiracy theorists and super angry, you know, get to be heard?
Well, yeah, but my anger, it was basically, I was funny when I was angry. And I've also kind of, you know, retired from stand-up in a sense. I've got 2 more major shows, and then I'll be doing some stuff. On occasion, I'll do a show every now and then, but I'm done with touring.
How do you feel about that?
Great.
Yeah.
I want to write. I have a podcast. I read people's rants. I don't talk to people, but I read the rants that people write. So what it is that's pissing off just folks. So I do that every week.
So you're going to turn into this guy who's at home and he's going to write and he's still going to be angry and reading his rants, and you're going to live for 25 more years. You're basically looking at living for 25 more years.
Ugh. If I can maintain the energy, if I can get some more exercise, besides walking the dog 3 to 4 to 5 miles a day, which they say is like real exercise, which I think is bullshit. I don't. Are
you eating well? You said that your parents ate terribly their entire lives and still lived this long. So,
yeah.
But are you trying to eat? Are you like, no, I'm going to eat keto?
Yeah, no, I eat pretty well. I mean, sometimes I go through a streak where it's like I went out west to do these shows, and I was on the tour bus with the dog. It was like, okay, we're going to stop here. Fuck it. I can go
Whatever.
to the In-N-Out.
Yeah. In and out. So what are the 3 tips for aging? Get a dog.
Make sure you've got a good group of friends or family.
Yeah.
Okay? Remember, and this I've got to remind myself that is really what's important. Remember to laugh. And I'm beginning to think, I'm talking about writing again. One of the things I want to write about is, because I was not able to get it across on stage, one of the things that we talk about, well, we're in this, this is what's happening now, and people, there's an explosion on both sides, and yada, yada. Well, here's the problem, you fucking idiots. It's because we're not laughing. It's because you used to be able to laugh, and you're not. Both sides are afraid of their own fucking shadows, and both sides, whatever is happening, it's the most important. It may be, and we may be in the middle of a high-pitched battle, and all of that, and then no matter what it is, it's funny. And there are people who know how to make it funny. I mean, the difference was when I did jokes about Ronald Reagan, the Republicans in the audience would laugh.
Right.
Because they know they won. If both sides have won. Why? Because we're living in fucking Moneyville. Some people are fucked. Some people are getting fisted on a daily basis. We can cut that. But sure, that's happening. But overall, it's a pretty remarkable country. We yell and we scream, and a lot of it has to do with our inability to share. Okay, because God knows you better take your piece of the pie. But you go, I was in you travel enough. I'm in Portugal the first time 15 years ago, 12 years ago, and it's 16% unemployment, and they're happier than we've ever been.
Right. Yeah.
We can't function. It's like we're 3% unemployment, and what do we, we're 4% or whatever it is. Well, that because we don't pay the other 10% what they should get paid, you idiots. So there has to be some place in there for laughter. That you have to be able to laugh, and that's vital. And I think we've lost it.
Well, that's what I think is. It's basically the reason we're living so long is because the country is actually so good, because the healthcare in some ways has gotten better, because people are eating better, because we are eradicating diseases. Now, you may live this long with half your brain, and I don't really know what to say about that, but the fact that you don't have to do the nothingness part for 20 years extra, maybe that is actually not such a bad thing.
Yeah. But what you said is really true, because my parents' friends, Betty and Nancy, as they said, being nurses, and they watched it, that the medical profession, or at least big pharma, basically put their money into keeping our bodies going. They did nothing for the brain. We're able to kind of move around, and then we're carrying this big piece of meat around.
Yeah, you're just like an eating, shitting machine that essentially needs to be kept alive at a very high price. That's not the greatest. Were they nice? Were those ladies, what were they like, those 2 ladies?
They were great.
Where were they from?
Really, they were from, one was from Pennsylvania, I think, and the other was from Michigan.
And it was a calling for them. I mean, that's amazing to me, is that you realize that you hear these horror stories, all these horrible people taking care of your parents. Well, there's actually a lot of amazing people. There's amazing people. They put the team together and then kind of oversaw them, and were really good at it. I mean, brilliant, and remarkably, it was like a gift. And, so what were the other times of laughter taking care of your parents? We got the one where your mom says, I shouldn't have lived this long.
Yeah. The other laughter is it doesn't change. I'm having an argument with my mother about when do I take Social Security. That's just flat out funny. Okay? That's not.
She's 100 and she's you really should space it out more, or she's you want to take it later?
I should have taken it later. I took it sooner. Yeah, on the advice, I'm going on the advice of the guy who does my business. Guy's been running my business for 25 years. Well, you should have waited because I was going to get $100 more a fucking year. He's going to make more money doing, oh, no, that you're playing the market. Okay, Jesus. So it's like, but you're sitting there arguing with, I'm not supposed to be arguing. I think it give me something. Give me at least the knowledge of Social Security.
All right. Thank you so much, Lewis Black. What kind of dog is this, and what is its name? Because we're going to all think about you and the walk you're about to go take for the fifth time today.
I'll bring him in.
Bring him in. I'd love to see him. Yeah, let's see a little cute dog.
Let me see if I can get him up on the chair. His name is Sammy. I named him after my father.
Nice.
He's a Shetland sheepdog and a poodle mix.
Oh, that's very cute.
Yeah. It is very cute, but he's bigger than he's supposed to be a mini, and they bullshitted me on that. Hold on. Sammy, come here. Yeah, you can see how he responds. Sammy, come on. Somebody wants to see you. Come on. He's not happy about this.
He was supposed to be small, so you could just make him do whatever you wanted.
Yeah, I know. Here, he's going to be fighting. Here he is.
Oh, hello. Oh, my God. He's so cute. Why are you fighting so hard? Hey, you're supposed to be loving. You're supposed to take care of him.
He wanted to lay down. He wanted to lay down, and then he'll be calm for a minute.
Oh,
okay,
my God.
Now he's going to...
Okay, you can wriggle away. All right, well, that's adorable.
He is adorable.
I look forward to the time that your brain is the same size as his brain. We can do another interview then. See what happens. Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on our show, telling us all about taking care of your parents for many, many years. You did do the Lord's work there. You were stuck. Nobody else to do it but you made your way through. And we look forward to reading the books you're going to write, all the amazing jokes you're going to tell. This is a time, it is true in the country where we have to laugh more, because I'm sick of being this angry myself. And I don't think I can get through the next years of taking care of my mom without at least a little laughter. So for all the caregivers out there, please laugh.
And you can watch The Daily Show tomorrow. I'm still on The Daily Show.
Awesome. I mean, my God, 30 years on The Daily Show. Who else can say that? That's awesome. Yeah, I have to say, you are one of my favorite comedians. And reading your books over, preparing for this, we'll have a link in the show notes to Lewis's podcast and some of his books. If you still like to read, was just such a joy. And thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Well, thanks, Vanessa. I appreciate it. I really do. It was a lot of fun.
All right, Inside the Tent listeners, I hope you enjoyed that episode. And if you want to hear more of So Your Parents Are Old, please just go to your podcast player. You can type in Parents Are Old. We'll also have a link in this episode of Inside the Tent. Thanks again.